Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Very good to see you again. MashaAllah. So let's start with a little bit of silence together and let's connect the hearts together. Bismillah. Okay, let's open the eyes. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا متكبر، مدد يا رسول الكريم، مدد يا رجال الله. دستور. So a lot is happening in the world at the moment. And like the way we said, the time of the solar eclipse is the time when things become very chaotic. And we are in the middle of it now. And in times of chaos, people also get very vulnerable and sensitive. And they fall into fear because this is the survival mechanism that gets triggered in times of chaos, right? Now, in our last meeting, we mentioned that Mars was entering a new position, which was not a happy position. It was a very dangerous position, and it will stay here for 40 days. Every position, Mars will stay always 40 days. So it is one of the worst positions for Mars to be in. Here, Mars is opposing the king. It is against the king. Mars here is doing unethical actions. Mars is not himself in his true nature, basically. And now Mars is moving towards a very difficult point in the sky. Yes, this creates violence in the world and eruption of violence. So this causes Mars to go over the top with its actions. He becomes impatient. He becomes erratic. And with this volatile Mars, you get the mix of energies that are very chaotic. This is where he gets the guns out and decides to go on a duel to the death. This is this energy now. So this month that started with the eclipses is filled with some drama, we would say, especially connected with politics at the moment. So we have said before that the planet of Mars is known as the chief planet of war. It is the planet of violence and aggression. And this planet is created by Allah Almighty because it has a purpose, of course. But in the hierarchy of the divine order, Mars, being the planet of war, is always surrendered to the king. And the king is the sun. The sun is the ultimate authority over Mars, giving the orders to Mars, because the sun acts from truth. The sun is the truth. And a healthy, correct, just Mars acts in obedience to this truth. It respects the orders of the king and respects the ethics and rules of Mars, of the war, excuse me. But when Mars is in this position and coming to this very difficult point, he is not only opposing the king here, but he meets this volatile point in the sky that magnifies the rebelliousness of Mars against the king and against all ethics and rules of war. Very impulsive, irrational, and emotional decisions are made. They can be sudden and not thought out and aggressive even. And they have to be revised on the long term because it is not correct. Now, Mars meeting with this difficult point brings a complexity. This combination is a power combination, like a volcano. Or to better understand it, it is like a burning coal. And just like burning coal, it simmers the heat with it. It slowly increases the temperature, and this can affect people collectively. Now, add the flavor of the eclipse here. Last Tuesday, we had the lunar eclipse on full moon day. It was the 2nd and 3rd March, depending on where you are in the world. And the nearer that we got to the date, there was this sudden, unpredictable event happening. And this is the nature of this energy. Now, on the personal level, this may create shifts in relationships. There is some aggression also, and there can also be conflict at this time with those that have some kind of authority over you. You may be feeling pressured by others to do something against your will or to make a certain decision while you are not really yet ready for it. Don't be forced by other people into a fast decision because this is not a good time to make decisions. And don't be overwhelmed by this because, as we said, there will come a time, after some time, you will be able to fully grasp what is going on. And that is the time to make the decisions, not now. So slow down. Don't go in the rush of Mars. It's not the right, correct energy of Mars. It is sometimes good to act, but in this time, we slow down. As the emotions can go very high, you may show an impulsive reaction towards something that can trigger you. It can trigger your anxiety, and it can trigger some pain points of your life. You may be thrown into a wound, a core wound of fear, for example. It does not necessarily have to do with anything real, but you might experience that it is real, right? And so you might overreact and you make the situation bigger than it is. This overreaction needs to be prevented. We need to keep a wise mind in this situation. Otherwise, it can start affecting your life if you act a certain way in this time. So we slow down. So Mars is the masculine energy in mankind, in women and in men. All women have this energy and all men as well. It is the will to fight. And in this time, it's going to challenge that will to fight. So you will get tested in this urge to fight. But in combination with this dangerous point, it is of a mischievous nature. And when you see that you should fight because your mind will be thinking maybe, I want to fight for justice. I want to convey my message. This is the time. No, this is not the time. Now, this is not going to be negative for everybody. For some of you, this will be a transformative time. Know that this energy can be used in something very creative. And if you are wise, instead of becoming angry at everything, you would want to utilize this very potent energy. This is a surge of energy that comes out in this week. The peak will be on the 13th of March. So 12, 13, and 14, this will be the peak days. So it's good that we are prepared. Now, this surge of energy, when you use it either in your daily practice or in work or a project that you really want to accomplish behind the scenes, this is a very good time. How you use it and where you use it, it will bring different types of results. But make sure it is a positive one. Avoid getting into the feeling of competition. This is the negative side of this configuration. Just go slow and work behind the scenes. In this chaos, we also have, on top of that, that makes this energy more chaotic, we have a Mercury retrograde, and it will be until the 20th of March. Now, Mercury plays a very significant role when we talk about on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. Our decision-making, our daily multitasking, execution of the work. We are planning it with the planet Mercury. This is our intellect and our way to make decisions. So Mercury plays a very significant role in all of this, especially when we have to make certain decisions to fight or not to fight, to act or not to act. Mercury is a big player here. So Mercury now is going backwards. What does this mean? Delays in communication, miscommunication. Mercury retrograde means distorted information, wrong information being delivered to you. So don't believe or trust everything at the first sight. And do not share information unless you have verified it. Is it real or is it AI? Also for the parents, it would be good to observe your children and what content they are consuming, because retrograde Mercury may confuse them. And the content may say something, something else may be discovered by the curious mind. So the supervision of the adults is very important here. Now, with this configuration, anytime, anything can happen. So this is a typical case where any gossip, any rumor, any misunderstanding can create a whole chaos of situations. So this could be looked at from the global point and from the individual situation. Watch for saying too much or saying the wrong things. Where you say something that you should not have said in the first place. Now, this could happen because you may feel triggered at this time, right? You feel an emotion and you want to speak out a certain thing. Now, in this situation, people can misunderstand you and you may not be able to deliver the clear message. So you might feel confused and you might confuse others. And you can be overthinking your situation more than necessary. The more silent you are in this time, the more practical you are, the better your life will be, and the better you be able to cross this time of chaos. Staying close to nature becomes very important. So if you have the opportunity, go in nature. So these are the things which you can do in order to stay in a positive vibration and to keep your vibration high and to not let yourself be drowned into the chaos. So if you have the possibility to not always check the news, try to refrain yourself from it. Your focus, if you want to keep it positive, should be on creativity. This is the best way to use this Mars. The more creative you are, the more you are aligned with your natural way of life. And the less artificial you are, the better it is. That means the technology is only for your day-to-day needs. For you are not a slave to the technology. Understanding the practical limits of life, your physical self, and for everything, accepting that limit, trying to do the best that you can by being within that limit. So, dear people, stay grounded and focus on your mental and physical health. This is very important. Now, on another note, if you want to get healed, if there is a certain problem where you look for healing, if you are suffering from anything and you want a correction or a certain healing where you have a long-standing problem, you want that extra push that actually brings you out of this problem, this is the time. This is a time of a sudden rehabilitation if you focus on the positive. There is this power to transform a warlike situation in your own life where you fight and win and come back to the position that you deserve. It can be a war in literal sense that we are seeing. It can be a war in court, or it can be simply a battle within your heart, within your own mind, a psychological war that you want to win. This is the inner war, the inner jihad that we speak about in Sufism, right? So the theme is this. You want to change something. You want to get healed. You want to heal. Fight for it. Prove that you are worthy and that you will get it. Because we have the blessings of Jupiter and Venus at the moment. Venus is in a very auspicious place, and it could have not been better than this. It is in its most pure and its most high position where it can be. So know that we are in a safe place. We don't need to worry. The true love, the true connection, the selflessness that gets poured out of this positive Venus at the moment, it makes you to care about other people, and it creates this other voice that we absolutely need the most now, right? The voice of love and the voice of caring for each other and connection. So this is an immense blessing in this month of Ramadan, where we have this positive effect of Venus. Then we have Jupiter that is bringing at the moment the protection from whatever strange events that we may experience. This will take the edge of all of the craziness in the world, alhamdulillah. And on top of that, we have Jupiter that will turn direct after being 4 months retrograde. So this is a very good evaluation that we have in this week. So good times are coming. We just need to be patient and cross this difficult ocean at the moment. Now, inshallah, you will be able to manage this chaos. And soon, the clouds will clear up and the sun will shine again. Have faith in that. It will dissolve all the hard elements within you and within mankind, and it will heal everything that needs to be healed eventually. We have to have this faith. The feelings and thoughts that lead to the point where you say, I will never do that again, or I will never accept that again. Such thoughts lead to giving people up as hopeless and incapable of changing. This is not the right attitude that we need to have in this time. We experience such hardening thoughts when we have opened ourselves to others, only to find that they may be less receptive and we feel hurt, right? It is very important to dissolve these feelings of hurt, these feelings of anger, and that we return to an unstructured, innocent attitude. Once this attitude is restored, all will relate to us more sincerely. When we dissolve these hard elements in us, we free ourselves from the grip of these emotions. You just let go of these feelings by allowing them to drift off on the wind or to be washed clean by water. This is how you visualize yourself to be freed from these elements in you. We summon the strength to let go of all these negative feelings and thoughts. The sun is always associated with gentleness and clarity. And as in the gentle breezes, we dissolve these ways, these hardening elements in us through this gentleness. We are gentle with ourselves in spite of our errors and mistakes. And we are gentle with others who suffer at the moment from their pressures of pride and feelings of inferiority, by which they act a certain way that we see now on the collective level, right? The more guilty people feel, the more rigid and sensitive their pride system becomes. This is a defense system of the ego. We also need to dissolve these feelings of hopelessness that would lead us to break our ties with people. It is important to dissolve this inferior mindset of why are things the way they are, or the temptation to relapse into indifference, or this rigid feeling that we must do something when we feel pressured. When we feel pressured, that means we are emotionally entangled. We need to step back, detach, and allow a new perspective, a new perception to break through. On realizing that we have made such mistakes, rather than relapsing into despair, we should hold firmly to what is correct and wait. With this attitude, the harm will be corrected, inshallah, and the tension will dissolve. And it will leave no after effects, although it looks very impossible at the moment, right? But we have to have faith. We need to dissolve our attachments to points of arguments and to ideas of the way things work, that we think how they should be. Here, we are in resistance if we have that. And we resist only because we misunderstand the truth, or only partly understand the truth. By giving up this resistance, we make it possible for a full understanding to emerge. Existence knows how to make everything work, both the impossible and the unlikely. Once we accept this possibility, existence becomes free to bring about the impossible and the unlikely. Acceptance also makes it easy for the larger insight to emerge into the problem. So by giving up the resistance and accepting this situation as it is, we allow the truth to come in. We should not overlook that we may be misunderstanding the situation, such as when we think that people are impossible. We must understand that in the process of self-development, we must go through difficulties that we later realize are absolutely necessary for growth. When other people do seemingly unforgivable things, we must try to discover in an open way, an unobstructed way, how they may have come to their point of view. If our final opinion is resentment or misunderstanding, that which will help us is a moderate judgment of mankind. And it is always linked with goodwill, thinking the good of the other. We need to remember that people cling to false ideas. That is the way it is collectively. And we must be patient and tolerant with such people. One of the great false ideas is hopelessness. A bad situation cannot work out, we say, or a unity is impossible. hopelessness is so foreign to our nature that we switch back to the hope that some last effort will work. We seek to persuade others of our point of view. And when this has no effect, we attempt to force a solution. Soon, we make other forceful attempts. Each time, we throw ourselves away more and more until the loss of self becomes dangerous. Each phase of hopelessness is built one on the other. And at each stage, we damage our self-esteem and further increase the power of the ego. To compensate, we build defenses. And these defenses are feelings of retribution and hardened pride. The more we have humiliated ourselves, the more our wounded pride can turn into hatred and violence, either in a suppressed form against ourselves or against those we see as having humiliated us. In such ways, people barricade themselves with packs and defensive walls and become isolated from any meaningful relationship with each other. We must keep in mind that the beginnings of this vortex, it is a vortex of the dark force that we create through this mechanism, has its roots in a negative assessment of people. The first ploy of our ego is to doubt or to decide negatively about people. And it's simply against our true nature. The extent to which this vortex is carried out depends on the strength and persistence of our ego. A humble and moderate person will not regard difficult situations as impossible. He will be able to accept when mistakes are made and will not take it as an assault on his pride. He does not put himself in the place of God to decide the future, but he accepts the present. He allows others to go their way without giving them up as hopeless. In recognizing that the person has become stuck, not able to make progress in his self-development, we must not give up on him, but leave him to see things for himself or herself. Meanwhile, we carry on with our lives. It is as we always have our guard up, or we stand on a mountaintop looking down at others, presuming we alone know what is right. We need to dissolve these barriers and the negative feelings that support them, such as ill will and resentment. We may also need to dissolve all the ideas of how we want things to happen and allow Allah Almighty to carry out the higher plan. We may need to realize that others in and of themselves are able to find the truth without our intervention. We should also stop reminding ourselves that someone is incapable of changing. All people are capable of responding to what is high and good within themselves. And we cannot always help them achieve these changes. This is a secret by Allah Almighty. It's not in our hands, and we are not the doers, right? Only when we have dissolved this constructed self are we able to come to meet others halfway. It is a great and liberating idea to realize that it is not our responsibility to correct or save others through taking charge of situations. Instead, we should disengage, let go, and leave matters to the existence to correct. Allah says in the Holy Book, وَأُفَوِّدُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهُ بَصِيرٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. Meaning, and I leave all the affairs to Allah. Indeed, Allah is capable of seeing all His servants. When we see this clearly, it is a great relief from an enormous burden we were never meant to carry. Through energetically correcting our ideas, we can correct and change our lives. This is a great and liberating idea. We may not be able to realize how this is possible if we think of a flock of pigeons that fly together. Such a flock may seem to whirl and turn synchronously, making it difficult to determine which is the lead pigeon, right? There is one leader in between them, but you cannot see. Considering that each pigeon beats its wings synchronously with the rest, and all of them speed up, dive, climb at exactly the same time, is a miracle, right? It would seem that the leader, this one leader in between, that is invisible to us, that this leader transmits his will to the whole by simply feeling a thing, being responsive. The others follow. Human beings on the inner level relate in the same way. The more a person's attitude is in harmony with the cosmos, the more his will and perception subconsciously penetrate to others, affecting changes. For this reason, we say that it takes only one persevering person to make great improvements in the world. Inshallah. Thank you very much for your precious time and your attention. It was very beautiful to share this message with you. And let's connect with each other and sit in silence, and we will end with a prayer. And I would like you to understand that there is good times coming, and we are just in a little pit of darkness at the moment. And this shall too pass. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا ودود 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 يا ودود. May we receive in this sacred month the clarity, the peace, and the love that we need to carry through for ourselves and our loved ones. May we gain the strength and the power to be able to offer protection for the ones that we need to protect and that is depending on us. May we be a light in the storm. For our community and our loved ones. آمين. اللهم إني عبدك بنت عبدك بنت أماتك ناصيتي بيدك ماض في حكمك عدل في قضاؤك أسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أو أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم غيب عندك أن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا ونور صدورنا وجلاء أحزاننا وذهاب همومنا وغمومنا يا أرحم الراحمين يا أكرم الأكرمين يا أجود الأجودين يا ذو الجلال والإكرام سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. إلى حضرة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ومشايخنا الكرام سير سورة الفاتحة. آمين. Mm. Yes. So, have a very blessed evening wherever you are. And we see you very soon again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. All the best. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum.